A quick introduction about myself. My name is Hadi Mezawi. By profession, I'm a CFO. I have almost 25 years of experience in accounting and finance. I'm actually connected to Morgan for as long as I remember. Morgan has more than 25 years experience and in the market, while I started with Morgan back in 2001 when I started my CPA. 2004, I took my CMA. 2012, I started actually lecturing with Morgan. 2018, I took the HR courses with Morgan, and it's been a really lifelong relationship between me and this amazing organization. My emphasis, my core knowledge is into management accounting, and worked with multinational for almost 20 years of my life. Started with Adidas, moved to Nestle. Thereafter, I joined Sadia, which is known as the Brazilian company. From Sadia, I moved to Del Monte, which is the fruits company, the fruits. And eventually now I have my own business into IT, technology, consultation on accounts, finance, as well as support in ERP implementation. So this is where I stand today. I am a certified management accountant since year 2007. And basically, I completed my requirements for CPA and HR models. Nevertheless, my intention was never to have the certification. So it was more than enough to have the education itself and the knowledge. So welcome to Morgan. Would like to thank you for putting the time on this. And there's one specific slide where I will going to thank you again for being part of this, and I will talk more about it. Moving forward, please feel free to ask any question. The aim is to try and reply to all your concerns. We start with the first slide by saying stay connected, invest in your knowledge and skills. It's quite important that we keep investing in our knowledge, and frankly, beyond knowledge, it is the skill. So knowledge will benefit us personally on a very personal level. Skills will support us on our career level, both of which Morgan does provide. And while standing in the class, and I always tell my candidates is that knowledge is all around us. The idea is to select the right information which we require to be more specified in the area that we actually develop our knowledge and become expert in that area. We can know a lot of information, but we can be perfect only in some of that. So basically, knowledge will never stop, and we need to be very selective. A little bit history about Morgan. Morgan has more than 25 years in the market. I believe they started back in 1997. And as I told you, I got acquainted and engaged with them in 2001. When I became in the workforce, that's where I started actually getting involved. They have a global network. So Morgan started in the MENA region, and now it has exceeded that area. To my knowledge, they have a couple of offices in India. They are in Europe. They do have offices in Canada and in the US. Lately, I came to know that they have as well in China. They have a leading partnership. They have lots of partnership, whether it is on the certification side or on the business side. I personally engaged with almost 400 candidates in the past 8 to 9 years, where I actually started teaching with Morgan. On the other hand, when I was a student, I got engaged as well with another 200 to 300 candidates. So when we come and say Morgan has more than 150,000 candidates and alumni members, that is a little bit modest. I believe it's a little bit more than that. And again, it is all around the world. They have more than 350 expert and certified instructors. This is one of the key advantages that Morgan presents, and that is most of our lecturers are basically certified. I'm certified in CMA, so I actually conduct lectures in CMA, as well as FP&A, financial planning and analysis. So those two areas are part of what I do with Morgan. We'll come a little bit later to what certifications are available. It's supposedly on the second slide. Professional development and training solutions. So if you look at Morgan and you actually would require support, Morgan can support you in. The first one would be certifications and diploma, like CMA, CPA, ACCA, SHRM, supply chain. All those models are available and being conducted and provided by Morgan. There are few foundational certificates as well. A few years ago, there was Foundation for Finance called Fundamental of Financial Accounting and Certificate. Other foundational certificates are available in different areas. Industry specific, all certifications are actually specific. Nevertheless, if there's any requirement in your industry, Morgan can actually develop a tailor-made training sessions and training program for your field. Just a second, moving this down. When we talk about soft skills workshops, again, I said at the beginning that excelling in our career requires lots of skills. Morgan is specialized in this area as well. If there are specific requirements where your corporate or you yourself are interested in, Morgan can make that happen. Corporate in-house training. I personally have conducted multiple in-house trainings, corporate as well as governmental entities under the umbrella of Morgan. It's definitely tailor-made, as well as the candidate, the source and the candidate involved are from the same background and same company. So sometimes it becomes interesting when the sort of questions are driven in a specific way, and you get to feel that there are certain areas requiring support on their day-to-day requirements. That is quite an interesting area. In addition, it's fun when you see candidates from different departments actually challenging the concept. Sometimes you have people from accounts payable, accounts receivable, and the head of the division. They are all discussing part of what CMA is talking about and how it is being handled in their company. So it becomes quite an interesting discussion and an outcome. Okay, we have a quick question. Please ask as much as you need. The question is, what is the difference between CMA and ACCA, and which one is better? There's a huge difference between CMA and ACCA, which I will explain throughout this intro session. Which is better? What is better for you is basically depending on your requirement. CMA is more into management accounting, and I will show the benefit of CMA with the coming few slides. ACCA could be benchmarked not via CMA, it could be benchmarked with CPA and CA. So those are kind of like public accountants. You would have the right to actually sign on financial statements, but though both have numerical requirements, so you study accounting and finance, one is more specialized in the area of public accounting, and the other is more of running the business. So CMA is more of running the business and actually engaging with multiple departments. Let's go forward. A lot of this will be answered soon as we move forward. CMA, yes. Muhammad, you wrote CMA. What about it? Is it better for you? Okay. Morgan has a huge list of certifications that can actually provide its candidate. 1997 was the incorporation of the group. Again, if I'm not mistaken, it's 25 years ago. We started knowing more about CPA in the region because of Morgan. Thereafter, the number of certification that grew and became available with Morgan has extensively grown. Personally, I've taken the CPA and I've taken the CMA with Morgan. So there are two bubbles. One on the left side, there's a CPA and CMA. I took the CHRM, CP, and SCP with them as well. My intention is to continue with the CSCP, which is more into logistic and supply chain. Now, if you look at these bubbles, you can find that there is certification in IFRS. A few years ago, this was not even something that was publicly given. Now there's a specific certification for the IFRS, and Morgan is providing that. In addition, ACCA certification became part of the curriculum that Morgan provides. When we talk about CFA, CIA, and DIP, IFR, all of these kind of, we're talking about 5 to 7 years ago. So CIA is internal audit. It's for those specifically not requiring to be CPAs, so yeah, they are not working with an audit firm, but more of an internal audit function. They are interested in the CIA. CFA is kind of a 3 years program, and it is quite an intense program. When we talk about the HR and digital marketing, again, personal experience on the HR, quite an interesting subject. It gives you an in-depth knowledge of how things are changing and how HR is becoming more involved within the company culture and the change that this unique division can put in developing the company altogether. When we talk about digital marketing certification, so this is embracing the change that's happening all around us. We're all going digital. So again, there's a specific certification within Morgan. Supply chain, when we talk about the green and the black belt, again, it's a highly recognized certificate. And I personally believe that this certification will have much bigger value in the future. With the technology and advancement, supply chain will be something where a lot of eye will be there and requirements. A little bit of connections and relationship. Morgan have actually connected with lots of multinational and big corporations. We had multiple in-house lectures being provided, and you can see a huge list. There is even, if you can look, there is KPMG, there is Deloitte, so as well with those other big names. I personally can vouch, there is one which is not here, because a big group of us, we came from Nestle and we took in 2001 the CPA lectures with Morgan. So I would like to add Nestle to this list personally. Becoming a CMA. Before I go into the details and whatever is provided, now I would like to extend the thanks again to you guys and to say that CMA is more of a business-related certification. It has a lot of financial requirements. We do agree on that, but CMA would actually support in creating a full engagement between you as a person and whatever position you're holding, starting from a junior accountant, guys. So when I talk CMA, CMA can make a difference on any level, from a junior accountant up to CFO level, at a certain extent, as well as CEO level. It supports in managing a business. So the intention is to understand the financial background behind everything that's happening, but our intention is to take this information and basically put it to good use. You get to feel that you no longer work as a 1 + 1 = 2, but more of this 1 + 1 source of this information and how we can put it to good use and move forward. So you're more of an analytical person, you're more of a solution-driven person, and it opens the horizon for new ideas. The word thinking outside the box becomes a real possibility. So the Institute of Management Accountant, IMA, it's a leading association dedicated to developing, certifying, connecting, and supporting high-quality accountants and financial professionals in the business. A network of 130+ members. Yes, as much as the number seems nice, it's still too small. So when we come and say 130,000, some people would say, wow. On the contrary, I would say how lucky we are that we are certified between the 130,000. This is still the beginning. A lot of people are joining CMA and a lot of people will be certified. If we compare the number of certified management accountant versus other certification, we find that we are lucky to be among the first to have it. So there's a big opportunity for us to further grow in our career. So a network of 130,000 members worldwide with 300+ chapters. Global offices, US, regional office in China. They have 3 offices in China. Europe, 2 offices, Singapore, India, and the Middle East. Now, the Middle East, they were too modest to mention the Middle East because I know for a fact they have in Saudi, they have in Qatar, they have in Dubai, they have in Lebanon, and I'm not sure if they have in Bahrain, but I know mostly the region around us In UAE, there are 3 offices. There is Abu Dhabi, there is Dubai, and there is Al Ain. Provide best-in-class certification, and that is well said, for critical internal financial management responsibilities, including planning, budgeting, business reporting, decision analysis, and risk assessment. Every one of these points mentioned, when we talk about planning, budgeting, reporting, analysis, and risk assessment, each one of them, I can really go into the depth and explain how it makes a difference understanding these information from a management perspective. Sometimes planning would not require only financial planning. It could be a strategic plan for HR. So can you step in and support HR in planning? And I'm not saying numerical, I'm saying structure, company structure, how it is going to grow, when the employees should join, what type of training to be provided, because eventually you're driving the entire business. When we talk about reporting, what types of reports are of interest to management? What type of reports are of interest to investors? This is as well something that you actually provide in-depth information. Analysis, I cannot even mention the type of analysis. There are straightforward analysis that we know, ratio analysis, but I've seen, and I personally have engaged in ratio analysis where we have developed from the known ratios, new ratios that supports more the business we're currently handling. So again, you develop on the move, you learn how to do that. Why the CMA? It is a global benchmark for management accountants and financial professionals. Something which is very unique about CMA is that it stands alone. So CMA is recognized worldwide. Today, if I come and tell you CPA, now Certified Public Accountant is an American certification, exactly similar to CMA, but CPA is kind of limited to the US. Yes, as a CPA, you can be residing in any country and might have the right to sign on financial statements, but still, being a public accountant, if you go to, let's say, Russia, Ukraine, or you go to Europe, you are still required to have the Russian accounting standard, you're required to have the European accounting standard for you to be able to work. Whereas CMA, it's global. Wherever you go, it's already there. No need to further conduct any further studies or verification for you to be able to use it. So CMA is global. Mastery of 12 core practice areas in management accounting. It enables you to grasp practical applications in finance, including strategic thinking, leadership planning, budgeting, and forecasting. The few words I would like to stress on would be strategic thinking, would be leadership, would be budgeting and forecasting. All of those become quite straightforward and easy. It assures employers of on-the-job competency to improve organizational performance. Now the question is, how would that be possible? Well, it's quite simple. CMA exam is not an easy exam. To be able to pass that, it will definitely show that you are capable. I have one question, it seemed. Give me a second, please. Sorry. Okay. Please note that I think your microphone is open. So if you have any question, just drop in and say it, please. There's a hand risen, but I'm not sure from whom. If you have a question, please let me know. So going back to the concept, CMA exam is not easy. So passing the exam and being certified, remember the 130,000 we spoke about? Being part of that 130 will give you your weight. When I conduct interviews, I basically sit with CMAs. It becomes easier to discuss open subjects more than it is specific. How do you book your sales and how do you actually provide for bad debt? It becomes more of a general discussion. How do you book your sales and what do you know from your sales? And it becomes like challenging. Do you look at the downturns in the history, or you look at the positive turns? And the answer usually, we look at the down. And the question is why? Why do we look at our mistakes? We don't look at our positive. We need to see what we have done positively and try to mimic that, try to make copy of that in order to keep growing. So things like that, the discussion by itself changes into a new concept. Okay, recognition and value. Global network of 70,000 plus CMAs in 100 plus countries. So you're not alone, but yet the number of CMA certificate holders are not big. That is an advantage for us to have it today. With strong recognition in US, definitely, because it's an American certification, Middle East, widely being accepted and requested for, and Asia as well. Technical competencies for management accounting and finance professionals. There are certain competencies that we get to learn, how to quickly calculate few aspects, ratio analysis, and to think about modifying or changing certain rules in order to fit our business requirements. Open access, eligible to sit exams while pursuing bachelor's degree. So CMA does not require that you have completed your university degree. You can actually start your CMA lectures and when you are still at university, which is one of the added advantage. And few universities around the world started putting this CMA certification as part of their curriculum. So you graduate from the university, most probably you have passed your exam. You are not yet certified because you require to have 2 years of experience, but you're done with the education and the exam itself. So the only thing required is you actually gain 2 years of experience and request for your certificate to be emailed or sent to you. Experience can be completed post being exam qualified. For CPA, this is not possible. For ACCA, this is not possible as well. So CMA, you can study it at any point of time. In addition to the fact you're not supposed to be specialized or graduate in accounting and finance. You require a university degree, yes. I've had candidates in my class who are lawyers, who are engineers, as well as IT specialists. So it's not specific only for accountants or finance people. It is much more holistic. Time and financial cost benefit. Compared to similar qualification, only 2 exams. So CMA historically used to be 4 books. Now it has been reduced to 2 books. Multiple online exam windows. CMA can be taken locally, so you don't need to travel to the US to have your exam. You can have it throughout the year. You will have 3 windows. Every window constitutes of 2-month period. So you actually register for an exam and specifically choose which day you would like to sit during the windows. So God forbid, you do not pass the first exam, you can still take it 2 times during the same year. We prefer that candidates focus on the CMA and try to complete the lectures as well as the exam during 9 to maximum 12 months. Does it take more time? The issue is that it requires literally dedication. So the longer you actually spend time on the CMA, the longer you are basically limiting yourself, because this requires dedication. So we say, please focus on the CMA, attend the lectures, do your studies, register for the exam, sit for the exam, and you can literally finish both books in 9 months. Thereafter, do whatever you want to do. Go back to normal life, take a break, and start getting other certifications. Rigorous syllabi, employability and skills focused curriculum with extensive exam process, testing, application, and understanding. When we come to Morgan, most of the information provided to you are actually books. You will be receiving books. You'll be receiving an online extensive support, whether it is attending the lectures, you can actually watch the lectures again. You can go through multiple choice question and test yourself, and you can repeat that over and over again. There is no limitation on the time. Okay. The syllabus are quite extensive and provided in big amount and quantity, which will make you definitely ready for the exam. Your worth, US-based CMAs earn 28% more in total median compensation. Globally, CMAs earn 50% more in total median compensation. To start, before we look at the increase in any salary, we look at the benefit that we're going to get from knowledge and an exposure to new ways of conducting business. That comes first, and automatically things will improve on the financial side. We do believe that CMAs, certified people, do get promoted quite in a short time after getting their certification. And there's one more belief, and I hope you know someone that took or got certified to ask this question. Change happens even before you get certified. As you're going through the lectures, people will start questioning you. There's a difference in the way you are talking. Something has changed. What are you doing? So this has been felt by lots of candidates throughout the years, and it is a question I always ask in class. Did people start seeing change in you and they don't know why? And I always tell them, please do not tell anyone that you are actually attending CMA. Let them see the change and let them ask, because this is where you start getting confidence that yes, things are happening. Management accountants out of business. We go back to what changes can happen. Strategic thinking. You're no longer a short-sighted person. You basically start thinking on the long run. When we say strategic, we literally mean 10 years and beyond. Planning, you become a professional in planning, okay? And we presume that most CMAs become head of management accounting department, and thereafter from there, they actually become either directors in finance and thereafter CFOs or directly to CFO level. Managing risk. The way you start thinking is more than how to put the information into good use, but automatically as you're building the ideas, you're building controls next to it. This is automatic. So anything that has been under control, it means it's going to function well. This becomes part of your habit. It's in your DNA. You plan and then you do your risk assessment and start putting the cushion in order to ensure that everything goes in the right direction. Value creation. A CMA has one difference versus all others. You will start saying that if any action done and it does not add value, whether it is to you personally or to the business, you start getting rid of it. From a management perspective, anything that does not add value, it will add a cost. Cost with no return, so no return on investment, what happens? You need to drop it. It's sunk cost. It doesn't benefit neither you nor the company. That becomes part of your way of thinking. You will start telling people, we require one way of input, then processes, again in one way, and eventually out. We don't require anything to go into cycles, because cycles kills the momentum and create obstacles. We need one point of entry, a straightforward process, and eventually an output, like any production line. Cost management. Everything you do will have been assessed from a risk perspective, and not only that, you will have actually assessed the cost in case a risk has happened. You know what is the maximum hit, let's say, that you will need to compensate for. Are you ready for that? Is it small or big? If it is big, what are the solutions? Your SWOT analysis will take place. Performance management, it could be related to ratio analysis or basically looking into your financial information and the trend analysis. Decision analysis, a lot of questions will be asked to you. What would you do? This, you'll have the answer to. Based on everything I spoke about till now, it is easy to take a decision. You know who will be actually sitting in front of you and listening to you. If you're not taking a decision, they need to take a decision. You'll be actually addressing information to board members and CEOs. Your explanation, your analysis will be used to take decisions at their level. So that's how important your word will be. Internal controls, you remember when I spoke about managing risk, automatically you start building controls around everything, trying to minimize exposure and risk. This becomes part of your habit as well. What do CMA do on the job? Prepare and analyze financial data in support of better decision. That is your life on a daily basis. Plan for the long term through budgeting and forecasting when they come together. So from one side, you'll be working on a budget and a forecast. Eventually, actual will come. You'll analyze the actual. You will benchmark versus budget, versus last year, versus your forecast. Where do you stand? Why this happened? Whether it is positive or negative. What should have been happened? And you will be extensively conducting scenario analysis around your Q4, because whether you're doing good or bad in the year, your Q4 is where you control your landing. So you need to see, am I landing so far from my target, positive or negative? What is supposed to happen so we land as close as possible or try to exceed the requirement. Remember, you have a bonus, you have a target, and you have a growth year-on-year requirement. So all of those are in your mind. In Q4, we conduct lots of scenario analysis and what-if question to see how we can land the year in the best possible way. Manage working capital and analyze financing alternatives. It has been said over and over, even at university, cash is king. Any company, even a multi-billion-dollar company, can go into bankruptcy if they don't have sufficient cash. Fine. So everything that we do, everything that we implement, everything that we think on, whether it is a short-term or strategic concept, we always have a cash flow to look at, especially if we have a long-term investment into capital, CapEx. So we need to maintain a certain level of cash availability to keep on investing and growing the company. So this is where your eyes as well will be. Evaluate capital investments and value acquisition. Any project, whether it is an acquisition, whether it is a merger, whether it is a small project where you need to invest money in machinery, production line, things will be on your table and requesting you to actually conduct the analysis and verify if this is linked to the strategy of the company, if it is feasible, if this will actually end up increasing our net worth as a company or will dilute our return on investment. So stuff like that will be required from you. Measure performance of business segments, products, services, customers, and the company as a whole. You would be looking at profit and loss statement. Stated a little bit earlier, you'll be benchmarking versus budgets, versus forecast, versus last year, versus your strategic plan, and basically come up with solutions. When we talk about business segments, so you're not only looking at your own company. If you have sister-related company transactions and sister companies, you might be consolidating. So that their profitability and return on investment might have an impact on the mother company. So where does it stand? Is it adding value or destroying value? If adding value, from which products or services? The customer base that you have. There's a sentence we always say, tell me which customer you have, I tell you what type of a business you have. This is another thing we look for. We look for reputable customers. Why? Because it guarantees and reduces risk. It guarantees kind of a long-term relationship and it reduces risk. In addition to collection is guaranteed, even if they pay you late, but your money is guaranteed. Identify risk and then implement mitigation strategy and internal controls. This I've already discussed a little bit on, and I'm going to further elaborate. Looking for mitigation. If any of you is currently working for an American listed company whereby you have the SOX audit, the word mitigation is used left and right. Mitigating failures or faults. So kind of you build a policy that have multiple level of controls, because if the first level of control fails, there's a second and a third. So you're always safe. When it comes to your business trend, when we say mitigating, so if you have a factory that produces items for you in a specific region, suddenly due to political reasons, that becomes a risk and that factory might be shut down. So you need to foresee this 3 to 6 months before and try to mitigate. If you have factories somewhere else in this world, you will try to start discussing with them possibility of shifting production from country A to country B, even if it comes at an extra cost, but you cannot run off resources and you cannot have out of shelf situation of your products. So all of these become part of your nature on daily basis. Sorry to say it, but listening to the news, understanding what's happening around you is something very important, because it will affect your decision and your analysis on daily basis, especially if you're working into or with a multinational or an international company. So you're not only bound for the area where you are, you're actually exposed to the entire world. Top reasons to become a CMA. Number one, career satisfaction. And though they are all important and equally important, the one I personally would like to stress on, career satisfaction. You start looking into your day-to-day business in a different way, your daily task in a different way. You always try to develop new ways of doing them, to improve them. It literally puts a smile on your face and you're happy doing whatever you're doing because you keep on changing and modifying. Remember when I said, when you find something that adds value, you will embrace and you will grow. When you find something that does not add value, what happens? You will drop it. Career development, that is automatic. Once you are, even before you start become a certified management accountant with a certificate, change will happen. That will guarantee a career development for you, okay? Because it happens that the information you analyze is presented in front of board members. When you present to board members, everything is visible. When promotion is coming to someone, most probably your name will be there. Globally recognized, I've mentioned this, CMA have no boundaries. You don't require to attest it or verify it anywhere in the world. It's approved everywhere. Remember, it's not public accounting, it's management accounting. Advanced level of credentials, absolutely. It's a specialized certificate. It's literally specialized. All the sectors you can apply for your skills in, without looking, I would tell you, every place, wherever you think of, whether it is a private firm or a non-governmental organization. You can work in the banking sector, you can work in production, you can work in digital, you can work in schooling. So private firms, 100%, multinationals, 100%, government organizations and non-government organizations, for sure, academic institutions, yes, consulting, definitely. So it opens the horizon and there are no limitations. Your career opportunity with the CMA. It's a bit of where you can actually be within a group. You can be a budget analyst, cost accountant, financial business analyst, financial controller, accounting manager, financial manager, chief financial officers, and chief executive officers. So if I just graduated from university today and I have my CMA certification, this is my career path. From being an analyst, growing to a cost accountant, thereafter business analyst, and a controller. This is growth in my career. Accounting manager, and eventually I would achieve the target of a CFO or a CEO level. You might be today at a financial controller or accounting manager role. CMA will definitely support you grow further in that area. Steps to become a CMA. Step number one, definitely apply to take the CMA exam. Without applying, you will never become a CMA. So now I would like to thank you for your interest in the CMA, because this is the first step into your reality and into your future. So please submit your application for IMA membership. Number two, you cannot pass without studying. CMA is not easy. So study for the exam. Choose your exam review course provider, create your study plan, and study. Step number three, schedule the exam. We always tell candidates, as soon as we start day number one in lecturing, we say, please, the next window is on, let's say, May and June. Please go ahead and register for the exam from now. When you have a deadline to meet, your studies and your focus will be on a higher level. Keeping it open-ended, please remember you have 3 years by which time you need to pass your CMA, or you need to start from zero. So we always recommend, as soon as you start your CMA lectures, register for the exam. That's your deadline. Start preparing yourself from now. So schedule the exam, select your testing window, pay the CM exam entrance fee and exam fees, schedule exam with Prometric. Succeed, take both parts. In order to pass and become certified, you need to pass both parts. Please note that if you have passed one part and 3 years elapsed, you need to start from scratch. Whatever you pass becomes part of the history, and basically you need to start from zero. So take both parts, obtain 2-year work experience. So if you are a university student, did not graduate yet, you can actually sit for the exam and pass, but in order to be certified, you require 2 years of experience. Earn your bachelor degree from accredited college or university within 7 years of passing the exam. Apply for your license. Education and experience requirement. Education must have a bachelor's degree from an accredited college or university, or hold a professional certification. For a list of approved certification, we need to contact Morgan in order to have more details on this area. If a bachelor's degree, professional certification, or experience are not available, you can sit for the exam and fulfill the educational and experience requirement within 7 years. So CMA does not require you to be in the accounting nor in the financing field, in any field. You need a university degree or certificate, that is correct. Do you need them now when you sit for the exam? No. There's a period of 7 years by which you can finish your university, get your certifications, bachelor's, and eventually accumulate 2 years of experience, submit all of those to IMA, and your certificate will be sent to you, definitely after passing the exams. Experience, 2 years of experience in management accounting and or financial management. This requirement may be completed prior to or within 7 years of passing the exam, or continuous part-time positions of 20 hours per week. Exam, 2 parts are required to be passed, administered by the IMA themselves. Maintain your active status. Another thing which is beautiful when it comes to CMA is that you don't only get certified and move forward. Well, IMA will always be behind you to support you. And they make sure that you're always getting updated with changes that's happening in the market, as well as what's happening in our area and field. So in order to maintain our membership with IMA, we require to report 30 hours of CPE credits. There are lots of sources for us to be able to take in order to accumulate the 30 hours, and the intention is that we are always kept up to date with the changes that's happening around us. So in a way or another, we can say, I personally graduated back in 1997. So if I'm still conducting today or following the accounting standards of what I learned back at university, I'm definitely outdated, and most of the financial information I'm using or issuing to the investors are actually wrong, because lots of changes took place from 1997 up to today. And IMA made sure that even with your certification, they are always following you to ensure that you are always knowledgeable of the changes happening around us. So 30 hours of CPE credits, including 2 hours of ethics, annual IMA membership. You require to have the left side, which is 30 hours, in order for you to be able to renew your membership with IMA. Understand the CMA exam. So we're getting a little bit into the CMA itself and what it is all about during the exam. 2 books, as we said earlier. The first book is basically split into 6 different chapters. External financial reporting, the first one, which is kind of an introduction and an in-depth evaluation of what are the financial statements. Its weight is almost 15% on the exam. Planning, budgeting, and forecasting. It's a very interesting lecture and chapter. Currently in the class right now, this is where we stand today. The weight is 20%. Performance management, 20%. Cost management, internal controls, and technology. The last one, F, has been introduced 2 years ago, and it embraces the changes that's happening around us into technology. So now there's a chapter that talks about management accounting and specifically on the area of technology. It is recommended that we spend as students around 120 hours in our studies. But again, it differs between one person and the other. Some people can actually study during one day. Some people can spare 2 hours per day. It depends. Our recommendation is that 120 hours studying hours should be more than sufficient for you to actually complete all the material, the curriculum, conduct lots of multiple choice questions, keep practicing, and eventually sit for the exam. Part 2, again, is split into six sections: financial analysis, mostly about ratios, corporate finance, decision-making, risk management, investment decision, and professional ethics. Again, it's 20% on A and B, 25% quite heavy on the decision analysis, 10% on risk assessment, 10% on investment, and 15% on professional. Please note that it does not mean having a 10% weight that this chapter is easy. It's not easy, but the chapter would be smaller. The number of questions that would come are less. You might get 2 questions on risk assessment, 2 questions on investment. The percentage does not mean that one chapter is more important than the other, but it matters when it comes to the number of questions that will be raised in the exam on this specific area. CMA exam format and length. Question types, you have 2. The first one is multiple choice and the second is an essay. Multiple choice will be sitting for 3 consecutive hours, and you have 100 questions to complete. Whether you finish the 100 questions or not, it is 3 hours that you have. To my understanding, if you finish the 100 questions before the 3 hours are up, what happens is that the extra time will be added for you on the essay side. Essay, you will have 2 essay questions, but you will have only 1 hour to conduct the essay question and to finish it. Please note that you will not be requested to sit on the essay unless you pass your multiple choice. So in the event you had scored quite well on the multiple choice, the essay question will open. In the event you did not achieve a passing grade on the multiple choice, the essay question will not open, and you will not be able to actually do your essay question. CMA exam registration and fees. To apply for the CMA exam, candidate must pay CMA entrance fees, $250 valid for 3 years. This is only required for you until you pass your CMA exam. So it is one-time payment. IMA membership is $230 per year, and there is a $15 processing fee. Again, this is yearly. And in order for you to maintain your IMA certification, we continue on paying the $230 plus the $15. The exam is $415 per paper, per exam. God forbid, if you fail, you need to pay this again. You can sit for the exam in any sequence. Is it a must that you sit for CMA Part 1 before 2? The answer is no. There are no prerequisites. So basically, lots of candidates, like I think CMA Part 2 will start in May. If you would like to join, you can start CMA Book 2 and eventually even sit for the exam, pass it, and thereafter take CMA Part 1. There is no prerequisite. CMA exam is administered by Prometric. It's basically an institute. You actually need to register for the exam with them. It's quite intense, frankly speaking. It's a very serious atmosphere altogether. The official exam results are announced by IMA within, let me move this, within 4 to 6 weeks. What I know for a fact, so if a window would be May and June, and you sit sometime during June, your results might come earlier. So you're closer to the 4 weeks to get your result, because they combine the window, all the exams during the window, they issue the results are at the same time. So if you sit in May, most probably you'll get your results in July. If you sit in June, you'll get your results in July. So that's why we say it's between 4 to 6 weeks until you receive your results. When can I take the exam? Well, the 3 windows are Jan and Feb, May, June, September, and October. They are 3. What happens is that you register for the exam. As soon as you get the confirmation of the registration, you would actually visit the Prometric website and select a specific day and time for you to be able to sit for the exam. So we request that you please do that as soon as possible, because from there you can organize your study plan and how you would like to conclude everything until the deadline is met. 4 hours total, so 3 hours maximum, 100 multiple choice question. Passing rate on the multiple choice question is 75%. On the second side, which is the essay, must answer 50% of multiple choice question correctly. So this is a prerequisite. For the window of essay to open, you should have at least 50% of the MCQs answered correctly. Thereafter, you have 2 essays, 30-minute essays, typical 5 to 6 parts per essay. So they are quite long. Know the exam scoring. Each part of the CMA exam is graded on a scale of 0 to 500. For you to pass, you need to achieve a total of 360, definitely or better. Multiple choice questions represent 75% of your overall score. Essay questions account for the remaining 25%. The essay questions for each part are hand graded. So multiple choice question, if the window open for you to sit and finish your CMA, your essays, you are granted, you have passed the first part. Now you need to accumulate the balance from your essay and basically achieve more than 360 or more to pass the full exam. Exam scores are released approximately 6 weeks after the end of the month in which the exam was taken. Creating a solid study plan. Decide which part you are taking first. Again, no prerequisites. You can do book 2 before book 1 or book 1 before book 2. It's your call. Just decide and focus on that. You can take parts 1 and 2 of the CMA exam in any order. Watch the Becker CMA course video, which part first. Select your first exam as a starting guide. Your choice should depend on which part you feel the most prepared for it. So some candidates actually finish all the lectures, CMA part 1 and part 2, but what happens is that they decide to sit for CMA part 2 or part 1 first because they were actually studying and they are ready for the exam. So your choice should depend on which part you feel the most prepared for. If you know most content in part 1 already, you may want to consider taking that part first, as it will require the least amount of study time. Review the IMA's content specification outline for the CMA exam to determine which key topic you're most familiar with and which part you're ready to prepare for first. There are a few slides that will follow. I will explain this particular bullet point more when those slides are presented. Build a realistic study plan. You will never be able to meet your deadline unless you have a plan. As a CMA member and candidate, that becomes part of your habit. So as soon as you start taking the lectures, automatically plan your succession in order for you to achieve your deadline and sit for the exam when you have actually completed all your study. Build a realistic study plan that is based on your work and personal schedule that will ensure you're setting aside dedicated and that be dedicated to study. I'll give you a small experience which I faced or I actually lived through in 2001. Morgan, when I was registered for my CPA, they actually had a chat with my family and specifically my wife. They said, this is a period where I require to focus in order to have a better future. I need to focus on my CPA and my studies for a period of 9 to 12 months, and I can guarantee passing that, and thereafter I can go back to my normal life, but I would have completed and carried my certification with me. Yes, you might force yourself to step back a little bit from your friends, from watching football. I know that World Cup is coming soon, but again, try to finish the exams before that, go back to your normal life as soon as you're done. But it takes time, it takes focus, and it takes a lot of dedication. Set realistic study goals each week to stay on track, and organize when you'll cover each of the CMA exam key topics. Just a second. Okay. The IMA provides a learning outcome document that details exactly what you need to know for each section of the CMA. A lot of this will be explained in few slides later. As a guideline, we recommend allocating 120 hours study for part 1 as well as 100 hours for part 2. This is partly from our experience, how many hours candidates have actually put. Some candidates might require 90 hours. They have a photographic memory. Some members require more. Some members that have more work experience could actually find certain chapters easy to comprehend, while versus other chapters are quite difficult to comprehend. Again, experience and your current work relation and knowledge plays a big role. Prepare for the CMA exam. Morgan International is an IMA Platinum CMA course provider and the Becker professional education partner. So frankly speaking, Morgan has actually successfully supported lots of candidates to earn their certification in all certifications. I'm not talking only about CMA, whether it is CPA, ACCA, SHRM, CIA, certification in the IFRS. Morgan was there and supported a lot, and there's a legacy behind that. A legacy of learning for a lifetime of success. 1 million candidates have prepared with Becker. The top 100 accounting firms relied on Becker for their staff's exam preparation. Strategic partner of IMA. Sorry, there's a question. Sure. If you can if you can give me more information of what areas you're interested in knowing, I'll keep on until I finish the slides, and then we'll come back and answer any question. I'm here online, even when the lectures are finished, I can stay. You can speak via the microphone, ask any questions you require, and I'll be happy to reply to all of them. The new Becker CMA exam review experience. New content. Again, we told you everything around us is changing. Becker and Morgan make sure that our documents and the information books that we have and the sources we have are always updated and always up to date. So new content, brand new textbooks, multiple choice questions, essay questions, and simulated exams that mirror the exam experience, all with the quality you expect from Becker. Intuitive user experience. When you start using the online portal to prepare for your studies, to watch the lectures, the videos, to sit and conduct your exams, test yourself, everything is quite easy and nice to use. Intuitive user experience, updated user experience based on Becker's highly acclaimed CPA preparation software platform. The new format provides an intuitive and user-friendly navigation. Personalized learning experience. No two people learn exactly the same way. That's why Becker utilizes adapt-to-you technology to constantly assess your knowledge as you prepare. Industry-leading instructors with decades of real-world experience that translate into real-life application. This is the most comprehensive learning experience around. This is well said. Most of us providing lectures and support to candidates to pass certification in all models, we do come from the operational world. So we are actually in the business. We have professional experience. So our support does not only is not only covering the academic side of the requirement, but everything that we teach and we speak about in the class is supported by a life experience. Okay, I do recall candidates telling me it's easier to remember what we're talking about when we have a real life example. So they know the theory that we're putting on the screen and in the books. Can this really be used? We bring real life example where this has been put into use and how it can be used. So this is one of the added advantage. A learning journey like no other. From the Morgan side, 34 instructor-led lectures with certified expert. Again, we're all certified. 2 meet and greet introductory sessions. So there's always this engagement between Morgan and all the candidates. 4 practice and review sessions to recap on essential topics and prepare you for the exam. We'll make sure that if you're not actually sitting and trying to test yourself or multiple choice, we'll make sure you'll do that, don't worry. Recorded courses, lectures for later review. So if you miss anything, you can go back online and watch the lecture again. So you miss nothing actually. 2 CPE workshop to help you learn essential accounting and finance skills needed for today's job. Technical coaching and support on examinations and certification processes. Special membership and CMA entrance fee. So Morgan provides you certain advantage when it comes to discounts. Morgan's promise to repeat the course tuition free in the rare case you fail. So this is the promise that Morgan gives you. In the unfortunate event someone does not pass from the first attempt, Morgan will actually support you and support that you can take the lectures again free of cost. Becker CMA review package from the Becker side, unlimited access, 2-part review course, textbooks, digital and printed, 500 plus flashcards, 3,000 plus multiple choice, which you're actually going to memorize. You need to memorize. 70 essay questions. You'll keep on practicing those as well until you memorize, because practice makes perfect. Lecture videos, any point of time you can come back to them. 100% coverage of the ICMA learning outcome statements. Adapt to you technology powered by Sana Labs. Simulated exams that replicate the actual exam experience. I usually tell my candidates, when you sit to test yourself and feel the exam atmosphere, so if you are a heavy coffee drinker or if you're a smoker, make sure none of those is with you during your preparation, because in the exam, those will not be with you. You need to literally live the atmosphere. Professionalized review sessions, unlimited practice tests, success coaching, academic support, online, frequently asked question database. Personalized learning experience, we're getting more into the online lectures. On your left, there's a step-by-step assessment. So as you take let's say, book 1, chapter A, as you're progressing through your lectures and watching the videos and solving the questions, your system is basically updating your progress. And there's a percentage of completion. So if you're at 70%, the system will tell you you're required to focus more on area A and B and C. Out of the answers and the questions you actually sat and conducted your practice, the system understands where are the areas where you have sufficient amount of knowledge, where the areas you actually you're required to further go through again in order to strengthen your knowledge. Personalized review sessions. At the end of every unit, our AI technology creates an adaptive review session to test your knowledge and help you become more proficient. On the third point, unlimited practice test. We keep on saying the books are quite important. Going through the books is a must. But solving question is really important. It's not only that you're studying from the questions. As soon as you answer a question, you have the answers on the lower part. Why would A, B, C be the wrong answer? It will explain. And why D is the correct answer. And all of these are basically linked to the books. In addition to that, via the question, you get to learn how the tricks come, because the questions are not always straightforward. There are tricks within the question, and you need to learn how to eliminate and remove those tricks to capture the required information to answer the right answer. Fine. So again, I state this and say it over and over. Practice makes perfect. Yes. You need to time yourself per question. 100 questions over 3 hours, you're not supposed to spend more than 1.3 to 1.4 minutes per question. So if you do not practice, you go to the exam, your problem would be you might actually solve everything right, but you will not be able to actually complete the 100 question, because tracing time, believe me, it's only via practice that you learn how to actually look to the answers and verify. It will teach you as well a way how to eliminate. So out of 4 multiple choice questions, you will have the knowledge and the techniques to eliminate the questions, to answer, sorry. That these definitely are out. So in the event you're required to answer, you have a 50% chance of getting it right. In addition, it minimizes the requirement to reread the question. Again, and I will keep on saying this to you and to my candidates in class, practice makes perfect. Simulated exams that feature new questions you've never seen before. So these exams are always updated. It's not like it is only related to whatever previously issued questions and released, it is there. No, these questions are being prepared by professionals. So I need to remove one screen to see. Okay, not computer-generated matchups of past models. No, these are written by knowledgeable instructors. Everything from timing to structure is based on the actual CMA exam to help you prepare for the real thing. 2 simulated exams per part. Exams are weighted according to the exam. 1 comprehensive review designed to help students identify areas of opportunities. Few helpful tips. Sit for the exam right after you study for that part. Then the information, the knowledge is still fresh. Plan at least 2 hours of study per lecture hour attended. Accumulate work experience that is required because you need to be certified. Do not miss important session. This one, I would say, please do not miss any session because they are all important. Plan to complete your CMA in 1 year, preferably 9 months. If not, 1 year would be enough, and then go back to living life. Do your homework. Again, the stress point is definitely do your homework, but the issue is that solve questions. Again, practice makes perfect. I remember during our days, we had CDs and we had almost 3,000 to 4,000 questions on our CMA. But remember, we had 4 books rather than 2 now. We literally reached to a point whereby we memorized the 3,000 questions per book, per chapter, okay? When we went to the exam, your exam is similar in a way or another to the questions. They will never be a copy, okay? But it made it so easy, specifically on the questions that have half a page to read through. It made it easy to select the information required, check the question, this is the requirement, A and B and C and D, you would solve, and within 1.3 minutes, you get the answer. Use memory techniques. The memory techniques could be a way that you invent, or on the other hand, it could be a way that you link the experience we put in class versus a topic. So if we're talking about a production line and cost management, something that we can mention in class, a specific experience in real life that can be linked to a topic and it becomes, excuse me, relevant. Learn to love multiple choice. Yes, learn to love multiple choice. And you need to learn to sit behind a computer for 3 hours consecutively on multiple choice. And for 1 hour to reply for the essay question. Do a test run before the exam, please. It's a refresher. Be disciplined. The way you study and the way you answer your question and the way you keep moving forward on your strategic plan to achieve your CMA certification. Sacrifice a few months of your life to make this happen. It's well said. There's nothing to add on that. Stay motivated. We are all behind you to stay motivated. Okay. Wait, there is more to offer. Continuing professional education. We spoke about the CPAs. I told you, IMA will always be in our back, supporting us to ensure that we are always up to date with the changes happening in our field as well as in our surrounding. Our 600 plus course catalog and flexible formats get you CPA credits and keep you current on the latest accounting and business topics. Detailed, in-depth, real-world experience, real-life applications, trusted partner of accounting profession, and eventually maximum flexibility to fit any schedule. A lot of time I hear candidates saying, I graduated from university 7 or 8 or even 15 years ago. I'm finding it difficult to go back and study. And the second thing I keep on hearing, we have no time. Frankly speaking, you need to make time. If you put it on your calendar, you'll find that you have time. But if you keep it as a last thing to do during a day, then you will have no time. Schedule it, put it on your calendar like anything else, and you'll have the time. With that, I'm done with the presentation and the introduction for CMA. Open to any question you can have or you would like to ask, so please feel free. And if you like to verbally ask your question, please use your microphones. Okay, the question is, are Becker books 2020 version 2 good enough? Truth be told, there are a few changes that took place, one of which is the change in the IFRS 16, and which is matching the gap related to leases. I'm not sure if the 2020 had those. You need to check with Morgan on the difference that took place between both books. But I frankly don't know what changes happen. What we recommend is that you have always the latest updated books with you, because it will incorporate any changes that took place, which would be part of the examination during this period. Okay. May I read your question so everyone know what I'm answering on? I have a question. I have IPA Australia, IFA UK membership, and someone told me I can have exemptions and just only last 3 papers I have to give. So is it true? CMA is 2 books only, and there will be no exemptions. Historically, when we had 4 books for CMA, if you were a CPA, certified CPA, the financial accounting book would actually be dropped and you had to take the 3 other lectures. But currently, I don't believe any book is to be dropped, and there are only 2 papers to sit for. Any more questions? Most welcome. I've actually used both books when I studied as well as when we are teaching in class. There is a huge similarity in both. Now, when we want to discuss the difference between both, it's mostly on the online. For instance, Becker, if you go online, you have the every chapter, you have a video that explains, so you get to see the instructor, and you can actually listen for the whole lecture and the examples as if you are sitting in class.